Be still.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
I'm I've been on a deep dive, man.
What are we diving deep into here, man?
This rookie list on the new Prism. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I think there's
That's
some
right.
really
It
good
is.
ones.
It's our favorite time of year. It is the Prism 23 release season. So I just tagged. Uh, I just tagged the number one show supporter, Jeffrey K. And what else is important here? That's right. In a new twist here, you can watch this on Facebook Live on the UFC Card Community page, or you can go over to YouTube at Fight Cards Nate. And the benefit there is if you comment on the YouTube, we can actually see who is leaving comments. So it's up to you. Eventually, we'll be adding videos to the YouTube. Right now, we're just live streaming. Either way, if you happen to cruise on by here today, that's our housekeeping. And let's get down to our discussion of Prism 23. Be
Let's
still.
do it,
Okay, so I spent this afternoon pouring through the list and I sent it to you later in the day. Where shall we begin?
man. Gosh, I think it's going to be real interesting. I think that it's going to be the first Prism release, which is the flagship product.
Yeah,
Um, when the market's kind of a little bit settled, a little bit down.
yeah,
Um, so, I think there's going to be an initial just, chaos over some of these guys as far as the people hunting for rookie cards. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as it's been in the past. The boxes are more affordable. So if you're doing breaks or you're doing pick your fighter stuff, you're going to be able to get some guys there, not stupid prices. I think it's going to be a little bit more. Did Patty teach anybody a lesson last year?
right,
I
right,
mean, because not only did he have the kind of what people consider the BS win against Jared Gordon, but and then the hobby took another dip. So there's a lot of people that spent a lot of big money. So when you talk about guys like Bo Nickel, and I still think Alex is going to carry weight. I think he's too interesting of a fighter. His loss was to Izzy. He was holding the belt. Um, I, I think if people are saying they're not going to collect Alex, I think it's probably just kind of they're throwing a bone and trying to get dogs to run away.
yeah. So there are 62 rookies in this product. Last year, I think there were slightly less than that.
Right.
Um, and as of yesterday, or maybe today, Blowout had the pre-order at $250 a box. First off the line, sold out at 375, and right now, Prism 22 is about $350 a box.
Right.
So I guess the projection is there's no Hamzat, no Patty, no Shavkat in this product. But who do you think is the big chase right off the bat?
Well, I think it was Alex. I think that I still think people are going to collect him, but I think Bo Nickel moves to the top of the list there,
Yeah,
popularity wise. I think that, listen, if you can pull some Bo Nickel cards early, good for you.
yeah,
I think it's going to be overpriced in the beginning. And so if you're chasing those cards early, you're going to probably pay. You're going to pay Patty prices for those into this year's Patty with Alex having taken that
right,
loss. Blanchfield's going to draw some heat, but again, then you're dealing with the value of female fighter cards, and they just typically don't, carry the same weight. But I think that's a great one to get. I mean, if you can get in on Blanchfield and get Blanchfield early. But I think there's a lot of people on here that there's a lot of guys that I like, but I also like. We talked earlier. I like a lot of fighters that are, kind of necessarily under the hobby radar, but just are still climbing up, and don't have. I like the guys that don't have all the the media attention, I guess you could say, because I think it's fun for me to catch a few guys that it's a slower build. It's an enjoyable ride, and I'm not one to worry about flipping cards early for cash.
for sure.
So some that I like. I, I've, I've said it before, and you and I have had this conversation. Fakhretdinov out of Russia. Renat, he's 2-0 in the UFC. Um, he's in the welterweight division. His last, I mean, he went to they went to the cards with Battle. Never forget if they always shenanin.
There you go.
There
We've
you
got
go.
a name and an icon to our comment. Don't you all want that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So Renat, I love Renat. I think that he's kind of one of those guys that there's a lot of people that are, super into it that probably know who he is or follow him, but that's not going to be a huge one coming out. I like Jonathan Pierce, man. I think Jonathan Pierce out of Tennessee is, he's 5-1 in the UFC, lost to Joe Lauzon. Lauzon's an old veteran. He submitted him. That's what Lauzon does. He's 14-4 overall. I like Pierce. I like Pierce a lot. I also like Mark Madsen. He's 4-1 in the UFC. He just he just lost to Grant Dawson. But I like Madsen. He's a wrestler. Let's see. And probably one that I like a whole lot too is Basharat. So he trains with Albazi and Chris Curtis and Dan Ige and those guys Extreme Couture. He's 14-0 and he's 3-0 in the UFC. And I think
Albazi did not get a Prizm card.
Do what?
Albazi did not get a Prizm 23 card.
Really?
Really?
Wow, that's super disappointing. I hadn't even gone through there and looked for him yet. I just assumed.
Yeah, there are a couple fighters that got left off the list that surprised me. But there are a number of rookies that got left off the list for a second-year card as well. And maybe we do a dive into that at a later time. But let's just focus on the rookies for this. My early observations: the middleweight is going to be the chase. Nasruddin Imavov, Kyle Barajo, that dude with the neck tattoo.
Oh yeah, Barajo.
Chris Curtis, Alex, Joe Pfeiffer, Petrosky, and then Chitty,
yeah,
Giucani.
And I like Pfeiffer too. Pfeiffer's going to be interesting, I think, to see. He's been impressive enough that there's going to be multiple Pfeiffer guys out there hunting him. Middleweight and welters. I mean, welter's got several. I like Mike Mallet. Mike Mallet. He's 9-1-1. His loss was in 2014. The draw was in 2015. He's got 5 round 1 finishes, 3 submissions, 3 KOs. And he fights out of alpha male. I mean, that's that's somebody that's up against top competition just at the gym. And he's been impressive. So I think there's a lot. I like this rookie class, to be honest with you. And we could go through all of them and spend a long, long time doing it. I think the big thing is, last week we talked about, and I can't remember now. I wish I had saved it and pulled up. You might have it, but there were so many hyped rookies that lost their debuts, or lost their fight after their card came out.
Yeah.
And
we went through that.
And it was nuts, and so I think it's, part of that's a cautionary tale from a collector standpoint. If you're buying to turn around and sell, if you really like the fighter, and they're probably going to take a loss in their career, and it happens, and you can scoop up some good cards after it happens because people are going to dump them.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Fiziev Gaethje fight. Think about all the money that was spent in the weeks leading up to that on Fiziev cards, and then boom. Yanez the same way. I mean, I was really surprised after the Yanez fight how many people in the following days just had Yanez cards up, and it's kind of the attitude was, well, we're gotta drop them. I missed this one, and it's I think you have to look at it as a slow burn when you look at a rookie class like this, because you're talking about guys that are, there's 2-1, 3-0, 4-0, 5-1. It's going to be different.
I'm looking right now at, let's see, who's got fights coming up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rookies on the next week's fight card.
Okay.
Martin Boudet, Kaya Barajo, Cody Durden, Natan Levy, and then, oh my God, I can't even pronounce his name. Sadyokub Kakarmanov is on the 5th.
Oh,
Matt Favola is on the 6th. Brian Battle is on the 13th. Carlos Alberg is on the 13th. Jaltin Hadinho is on the 13th. Mike Mallet is on June 10th. Nasruddin.
Yeah, he fights Adam Fugit.
Yeah. So,
Mallet.
Yeah, we've got Maladino is 4-0. He's a heavyweight, and he's facing Biggie Boy. Tapology has him as the number 13 heavyweight. So there's somebody who I'm not sure. Like, that's the thing. I learned so much about these fighters. I start paying attention to them because of their cards.
Well, let's touch on the advantage of looking at this as we kind of dig into some of these as the weeks go on, and we look at, pre-fight. I guess, it's no different than laying a bet. We've had this conversation 100 times, but if you're going to drop $50 on a fighter, and you're into the hobby and you're into betting, for me, I'd go spend $50 on cards, and if they win, it's better than the payoff of a cash bet. And so, I had just mentioned Mallet, and you came across him. He's fighting on June 10th. Mallet fights. He's team alpha male, welterweight. He's 9-1 overall. He's 31 years old. He's from Canada. He's fighting Adam Fugit, who's 9-3. Fugit's a good fighter. I think he is 1-1 in his last 2 fights. But this is in Canada. So you got Mallet, who's 9-1-1 and coming off of 1, 2, 3, 5 first round finishes, fighting at home. And he's got a rookie card in this set, and it'll come out prior to the fight in June. That's a sneaky play, in my opinion, if he can come out and do something impressive. I mean, another big finish. And I think early on, that's a way you can approach scooping up some of these lesser known guys,
I love the data, so there's so many different ways to look at this. And I'm curious, a question for anybody who's watching, who are you going to be chasing in terms of value, and who are you going to be PCing? So if you're paying attention to the show, if you're watching the show, feel free to drop that in the chat. This year, we have, 19 what I call true rookies, people whose first fight was in 2022 or 2023, and that is by far the most, because the first couple of years of Prizm, there were very few actual rookies, Okay, so Hasbullah, there's an interesting debate. Are we all going to look back and laugh at some point, or is this going to be a card, because he has a base card as well as an auto, that it doesn't even matter? You know what I mean? What's your take on the Hasbullah cards?
I listen. I do this hobby with an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And the kind of silly shit that Hasbullah does, Brennan is all about it, man. That guy cracks him up, dude. Yeah. Brennan, I'll come in the living room and Brennan will be watching videos on YouTube of just Hasbullah laughing or Hasbullah hitting people. Yeah. And so, I think it's funny that it's in there. I know that it'll make for good YouTube if he pulls one. So,
random hilarious Panini fact: Prizm 21 had John Jones as a heavyweight when he had never fought at heavyweight. And Prizm 23 has him as a light heavyweight when he'll never fight at light heavyweight again.
Huh. What did this say? I'll be swimming in Hasby land. Who is Blanc 730? Do you know?
Yes, I do. Brandon LeBlanc.
Okay. Yeah, he was saying I'll be chasing Phil Rowe. I like Phil Rowe too a lot. I think he's 32. He's got 3 losses. And two of them were decision losses, and he hasn't been knocked out since like 2014. And Fusion XL is the gym. I like Rowe. His knocked out Nico Price, knocked out Jason Witt. He's got his last 3 wins are all by knockout. 2 in the second round, 1 in the third round. I think Phil's a good one, and I think he'll be one of those low to medium price guys on pick your fighter breaks or where the card pricing falls.
Sure. I went and looked at which of the cards have a fighter who's not even in the UFC, which happened to a number of fighters last year. There's one. Said Yakub Kakramanov was a bantamweight in the UFC who was 2-1 when they cut him. He debuted in August of 21 and had his last fight in December of 22. And he tweeted out that he thought they did him dirty and deleted the tweet. And I read like Bloody Elbow basically said, yeah, there's no reason for it. He's a fighter with a future, but he's also not competing in anything high level. His next fight is on June 3rd or May 3rd in XMMA. I don't even know what that is, but he's not in Bellator or PFL or even any of the bigger regionals. So that's really weird that this guy got a card. But
yeah, and there must be something to that too, because he fought in December and he fought Said.
Yeah.
And was submitted late in the second round. So I don't know. That's strange. But yeah, here they go again. Of course, they have to plan this stuff months in advance, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's an odd one.
Overall, I think there's. Let's see here. How many undefeated fighters do we have in the set?
I have. Let's see. I marked those earlier, so I can tell you. So you have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
There are 22 undefeated fighters right now.
Okay.
Bo Nickel, Joe Pfeiffer, Lucas Almeida, Kareem Silva, Renat, Tatsu Taira, Martin Boudet, Kaya Barajo, Mike. So there's and a lot of these folks have fights on the calendar.
Yeah.
Blanchfield, obviously. I hope that she is. I hope people pay her the respect she deserves.
Blanchfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Blanchfield will be. I think if you were to look back to this year and you look at fighters like Casey and fighters like, let's see, who else was a big rookie this year that would have, just Casey's a perfect example. Yeah. I think that Blanchfield dwarfs what Casey was getting for card prices.
Sure.
I think that it's, I don't think the timing could have been any better to pull something. There's somebody else too that when I was looking through this earlier is Drakkar Klose in the lightweight. He's 7-2. And it's surprising, I think his debut was, it's weird how they do these cards. Because I think his debut in the UFC was in like 2017, 2000. He's been in there a while. His last loss was to Dariush in 20. And then he fought twice in 22. So he was out for a while. And that's in the lightweight division.
I
So I
just
think there's going to be a lot of cards that you can pick up of guys that will be fighting in the near future or have fought recently that are just not going to be drawing where you're going to have to spend big bucks to get in on breaks and pick some of these guys.
sure. Muhammad Mukayev. I went by and took a look at what does Tapology put them in their weight class rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So um, there are a couple that are like there are two fighters that are in the women's featherweight, which is a fake weight class. Norma Dumont and Jose Nunez. Let's just take those out of the equation. Aaron Blanchfield is ranked number 4 in women's fly. Amanda Lemos is ranked number 4 in women's straw, and then Alex is ranked number 6 in middleweight, although probably won't be in middleweight anymore. So Muhammad Mukayev is ranked number 10 in flyweight, and then we go all the way to the bottom of the list. There might be a couple here that I missed, but Raul Rosas Jr. is ranked number 69 in bantamweight. So we will see what happens to him after his last fight. I wonder if his values completely collapsed or if people are still going to be chasing it.
I don't know. I mean, I got to say this. I was a little bit surprised at how quickly it happened. But, right immediately after that fight, he started training with Sterling and Marab and those guys. And it makes you think it didn't settle well with the kid, and he immediately went back and he, and sort of changed up who he was rolling with and spending time with. So it makes you wonder, how serious does he, what's his mentality, at that age after a loss, when you were that hyped, I'm sure you were feeling like you were on top of the world. Listen, if you can take a flyer on some of those cards and get them, I mean, the kid's 18 years old,
I'm really excited about. It feels like I'm just ping ponging back and forth between things that have been in my mind and, the be still thought process. But I'm really excited about the wave of Philly guys that are coming into the UFC, and a few of them got rookie cards this year.
So who are you going to be chasing?
So, what did I say? Obviously, Pfeiffer, Petrosky. He just fought this past weekend. I can see him in my mind. Let me look. And he has a card now. So.
Are you from Philly?
Jeremiah Wells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he has a card.
I can tell you. Yes.
He does. Jeremiah Wells is 4-0. Made his debut in June of 21. And then, won his fight by decision. But he looked really good. I think he looked really good against.
I don't remember who that was against.
It was against Semmelsberger, who also has a card, by the way.
Yes.
But Semmelsberger,
you know what? Listen, I'm sorry. The Jeremiah Wells fight was awesome. I mean, because it did not look like he was going to make it out of the first round.
Yeah.
And I was surprised it was a split decision, but it was impressive. And it's interesting too, because he's 36.
He's 36.
He's 36 years old. That guy,
Does not seem like 36-year-old.
He's 36, and he didn't have a huge amateur career. I think he had like 7 fights.
Not brought to you by Gatorade, okay? Sorry. I thought that was funny. Yeah. But that whole Philly crew, very promising. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was surprised that Big Usman doesn't have a rookie card. Then I saw him fight, and I was like, okay, that guy is a work in progress.
Yeah, I listen, and I don't care who you are right now, and we haven't even chatted about this, but I mean, I think we got plenty going on at the top of the heavyweight division right now. I mean, who's this guy going to fight?
Sure.
You know, that was an impressive win last night.
So let's take a look at light 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 offering in heavyweight this year. Jaltin Mahadinho, as I said, facing Biggie Boy, highest ranked amongst them, Martin Boudet, and then Chris Barnett, who also has an image variation card, by the way. First year that they're doing this for UFC Prizm, but we're getting image variations.
Short print variations.
Yeah, so basically in the undercard box, there are 10 or 20 fighters. I have to look at the checklist that that will have a different picture on their base card, and Chris Barnett is one of them.
Oh, I love it.
Let's see here. Oh, we didn't. Two things I wanted to talk about briefly. We didn't get a chance to talk about the impending drop of Donruss, which personally I think is a gross card. And I went and looked at the previews for soccer and I think basketball select, and I don't love this year's select designs either. But these Prizm cards look dope. I think they're nicer than Prizm 22 by a lot.
Prizm, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Prizm this year. I think they look wicked. I really like them. They remind me of the mezzanine cards. We've talked about this. I think they're awesome. I'm not going to touch Donruss this year, man.
Me either.
I'm just not. I don't like the cards. I don't think they look good. Some of the lasers were kind of cool, but I don't.
Yeah, and they're looking at their. By the way, weirdly, Donruss 22 has gone up in price on Blowout. It's up to like $120 now, and pre-order on Donruss 23 is $150. But I'm sure that's going to drop.
Right.
So
what you said you've seen the select for other sports, so we know what the design looks like.
Yeah, let me see if I can
share that. I'm curious to see it. Are you going in on any of the undercard stuff?
I don't know. I don't like disco, as a kind of as a general rule. I don't like disco. So I think I am.
There's a sound bite I wish I had recorded.
It is recorded, but no. All right. So let me do a quick screen share here. I'll show you select. This will be your first reaction. So they tend to, this is what the UFC cards will probably look like. They do look a few things different, but for the most part, this is probably what the UFC cards.
The basic design's the same.
Yeah. There's one card here that I like. We're sharing. All right. So I'm not sure which this is, but that actually looks dope, right?
Yeah.
But this looks like the premier level because it's horizontal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel it. And then this looks like the concourse level. And again,
that's not bad. I don't like the other one.
So then here's what the patch autos will look like. These are just kind of very angular and noisy. And these parallels could be anything, right?
Right.
Yeah. So here's your basic. I'm
Select
guessing this is premier. This is concourse. This is premier, and this could be mezzanine. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like octagon side.
Right.
But, anyway, just a quick sneak preview, and these are coming out in June for football. So I imagine, I don't know when they'll even. I imagine Prizm will drop, and then they'll announce select shortly after that. I don't know. Anyway, back to what we really care about, Prizm rookies. There's nothing in here. Obviously, I'm rooting for Bo Nickel as a Pennsylvanian a native
Right.
Pennsylvanian who grew up as a Penn State fan. It's crazy that Penn State wrestling is the best thing in the country, but no one from that state cares at all about it. Maybe he'll bring bring some prominence to the program, even though it's not as important as football or anything like that, which is the only thing in Pennsylvania anybody actually cares about. So let's see. I went through not, and there's no crate, by the way, no patty auto in this product.
There's no patty auto.
No patty auto. The best rookie auto, I think, is Aaron Blanchfield. Yeah, and Petrosky maybe. And then obviously Hezbollah is going to be the big auto chase. But the autos this year, nothing crazy. Dagestan, Pennsylvania. That's funny. Boy, I hope Bo Nickel fights serious competition. And, is it going to be a Hamzat situation where he doesn't steamroll somebody in the top 10 and then his value drops? I hope not.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Listen, it is a fickle hobby for the UFC cards.
Yeah, I'm still, one of the things we're talking about off air, the thing I like about the UFC is you can slow burn a rookie, right? As opposed to the NFL where a prospect has value until they prove that they are not going to be the next, superstar of the league or whatever.
Right.
A year or two for, will the Zach Wilsons and the Mac Joneses ever make a comeback in terms of value? I don't know, but we don't know which one of these fighters is going to slow burn their way to a title and do the Charles Oliveira thing. Hell, exactly. Man, people might start paying attention to Beneil Dariush. You know what I mean?
Right.
His cards have had no value unjustifiably.
Yeah, it's pretty
Ken
insane.
Shamrock auto is cool. Yes, Ken Shamrock has an auto in this one. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, to your point too. Yanez is a perfect example to me. I was really kind of shocked by the initial reaction after the loss to Font, and it surprised me because of the run he had been on. I mean, the kid's only 29 years old, and that's why I think it's a cautionary tale to spend a lot on these guys early.
Yeah.
Because even if they do win and it's someone that you like, but you're not holding, wait 2 or 3 weeks, let it simmer down a little bit. And then you can still, kind of get back into buying singles. Because if I was holding any big, Yanez, I certainly wasn't selling it for half price that Monday after when the kid's 29 years old, just lost a Font, So it's going to be real interesting, man. It's going to be real interesting. I'm looking forward to revisiting this as over the next couple of weeks and kind of see where I'd like to start looking at some of where the pick your fighter prices are at and on some of these bigger breaks and just see where the value's at.
A big one that's coming up that I'm looking forward to and is a bummer to me when these prospects fight this young in their career, although it could be they fought once and see each other at the top. Jack Della is fighting Sean Brady.
Sean Brady. I know, man. I saw that and I just thought, holy shit. We'll see. Brady's super talented and but God, that's a tough pull after Muhammad.
Yes.
So
yeah.
We will see. And it's going to be interesting to see, talking about Brady fighting him coming off that loss and being one of the hotter rookies of last year's set. It's going to be real interesting to see kind of the what have you done for me lately thing, because if you ever want to finish stocking up on rookies that you like that had a 22 rookie card, next week's going to be the time to do it, because everybody's going to be just buried knee deep in what's going on with Prizm.
For sure. I'm going through right now, um, looking at the weight classes, trying to figure out where where the heat is. Right. Um, second year cards. Let me go through the weight classes and give you the rundown on who's got second year cards. Um, Bantamweight, Adrian Yanez, Umar. This is taking longer than I wanted it to. Um, Cheeto has his second year Prizm. It's good they still care about him. Carol Hosa, not that it matters. Sorry. Caitlin Vieira, oh, it's not a second year. Uriah Faber is still in the product. Penny Kianzad has a second year. Holly Holm is still in the product. I think Holly will be in the product forever, right?
Yeah, she probably, yeah, she'll be she'll be like a Chuck Liddell type person. I think she's going to, as far as the female fighters, her and Valentina and those people, they'll always have cards.
Yeah. Featherweight, Movzar is back, obviously. Volkanovski, Ortega, Holloway, Rodriguez. The Zombie still has a card. Josh Emmett still has a card. Giga still has a card. Thug Nasty still has a card. Calvin Cater, Ilya, and Arnold Allen. So pretty much everybody who I wonder if anybody dropped out of the. I wonder if anybody lost a card out of Feather, but that's pretty much everyone who matters in the division, right?
Right.
And then in terms of rookies, I don't know. All right.
This is a lot to ingest.
Yeah.
Ever since you sent it to me and we kind of started looking through it
Yeah.
and said, hey, let's jump on there and just kind of review this. It's a lot to take in, but this is a lot of good stuff because, listen, we don't miss a fight typically.
Yeah.
And we're busy, but Brennan and I sit down and we watch a lot of stuff. But listen, you got to have a killer memory to remember all these guys over the course of a 2-year period when some of them haven't fought recently. And the more you dig in and see and realize, oh wait, okay, this guy's got a card. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this here over the course of the next week.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking at interesting observations now. Pavlovich has got his first Prizm. Holy crap.
Yes.
Is he
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, is he next in line for a title fight, or is he going to have to wait to see what happens with the next Jones fight? So Jones and Stipe hasn't been signed yet. Do you think he'll end up fighting for the title before Stipe or before anybody else?
Listen, in that heavyweight division, to me, you had Francis leave, which was news, right? And so you had people talking about the heavy division and what was going on with Francis. And then you had the Jones win. And I think that with the way, so Pavlovich didn't fight for a year and a half. And we had this conversation when he first came back. But he's so dynamic that I think that if something falls through or they can't nail something down with Stipe, I think you give him a title shot.
Yeah.
I think, listen, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt that John's fight IQ is superior. Listen, Pavlovich is Russian. He's been wrestling since he was 5 years old. You still probably give Jones the edge because we just have more of a sample size to go off of. But that was a straight left jab that put Blades on wobbly legs. That was the first shot that really wobbled him. It was just a straight left. It wasn't even that massive overhand right that he throws. And he's so fast. And he's like a fucking bull in there. And so, listen, I don't care how good you are. If you catch anybody with that kind of hammer, you could win the fight. And so two things happen. So number one, you have Jones beat and gone and win. And then you have what happened last night. And then you have one of two things happen. Either he beats Jones and holy shit, what just happened? Or Jones wins again against this guy that's, charging through people. And it just solidifies that, nobody's going to touch him. So I think it's the fight to make, in my opinion. They don't follow rules anytime ever anyways, So
or if they can't get Jones to fight, another interim.
Yeah, who knows how they're going to play it, but I think that's the fight to make. But yeah, so he does. He has his first Prizm. I believe he had a Donruss.
He did have a Donruss that went very under the radar.
Yeah, well, they were shitty cards.
So, other interesting notes on the heavyweight. Only 3 rookies in the heavyweight, so you don't want to get heavyweight ear breaks.
Yeah.
But who's missing from the heavyweight non-rookie class this year? First of all, Dawkins is out. Surprisingly, Spivak does not have a card. Romanov doesn't have a card. And then
really?
And then John Jones is a light heavyweight in this set, not a heavyweight.
Okay.
So other than that, your veterans are Rosenstreich, Tybura, Tuivasa, Pavlich, Ganu, Volkov, Blades, Aspinall, Lesnar, Cormier, Lewis, and Stipe.
Yeah, I haven't dug in. I just haven't had the time to dig in and really look at each weight class. But I am just to kind of put a bow on it as far as the overall topic. I think there's a lot of rookies in here. I'm really excited about it. Things are certainly different if the list that we went over last week isn't sadly as long as it was with all the rookies that had a first loss. But there's a lot in this one to gamble on as well, aside from the top, the top names. I don't think there's as many top names this year.
Right.
And I think that's what's going to be odd for people.
Yeah.
Because last year, you had, even though it wasn't a rookie card, you had Islam's first card. You had Umar. You had Fazeev. You just had there was a handful of really, Yanez. You had all these really recognizable, Brady early, and I don't think you have that this year. But there's a lot of them.
Light heavyweight only has 2 rookies, and then notable omissions from the veteran cards. No Ryan Spann this year. Dominic Reyes still gets a card.
Mm-hmm.
No Jimmy Crute, and no Dustin Jacoby, who, by the way, I gave up on after his last fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Dustin Jacoby. Yeah, he lost to Mirzkhanov, and Mirzkhanov actually has rookie card this year. He's on the list. That's somebody else that I like. He's 13-0. He's 3-0 in the UFC, and that was a recent fight. I mean, that was just on the Allen Holloway card, and he's a big old boy. So that's one that I'm interested in as well. But it's going to be interesting. We have plenty of content to go over the next couple of weeks. I'm really curious to see what they look like, who pulls what. And just kind of
no Sarukian, which blows my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
No RDA. Oh no, RDA does have a card. Sorry.
Moises in this?
I think so.
The only one I've got pulled up is the rookie list.
Excuse me.
Let me ask you this. Did they finally drop the beat?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is the beat in here? Yeah, I know it's a beat.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go through these lists and just.
No, I'm looking now. I think. Listen, I mean, let's. I'm going to do a lot of homework between now and the release, so I'm real curious to follow up. I'm curious to see which one of these get scooped up and what the prices are on the Pick Your Fighters, because I do quite a few of those.
There are a lot of lightweights who didn't make the cut this year, veterans, but there's also a lot in the lightweight division. There are a lot of like fake rookies, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Hasbulla is a lightweight, so that saves it. So Mark Madsen has 5 fights since 2019. Drakkar Klose has 9 fights since 2017. Matt Frivola has 4 fights since 2018, right?
Right.
So yeah, Jordan Levitt, 6 fights since 2020. So there are a lot.
Rude Boy is in this finally.
Yes, he is.
And which I thought was, I mean, he's got like I think he's got like 12 fights.
Let's see anything else? Welter.
Randy Brown, welterweight. Yeah. He's in this set. That's cool.
Jack Della. So I have these. Let's see here. In welterweight, Jack Della, Randy Brown, Jeremiah Wells, Jake Matthews, Philip Rowe, Semelsberger, Renat, Brian Battle, Michael Morales, and Mike Malott.
Well, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. I love the set. It's my favorite Prizm so far. Just at surface level, just not having ripped it yet, but just the look of it, I like it a lot. So I'm looking forward to it. We're excited.
I really like, aesthetic matters so much to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that, let's see here, the inserts can be hit or miss. All Out. We've obviously got our Color Blast. Dominance, I think those are both dumb. Fearless looks great. Hall Monitors, I'm suspect about.
Yeah.
But it's cool if you can get, let's see, who's left on, who do we have in Fearless that you probably have 3 years of? You probably have O'Malley. I don't know. I don't actually know these things, but it's possible that. So Fearless is the only insert that's been in all 3, and I'm sure there are fighters in Fearless that have been in all 3. So that might be a neat little collection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there as expected, there are. I like the design, and there's a lot of options as far as nice color or variations to pull.
Yeah.
So
let's look at. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say we'll see what we get. So
we haven't talked about parallels yet, right? Mm-hmm. So. By the way, I took a look. I was interested to see how many cards are in the master list. This one is about 7,100, which is more than last year. But I think the addition of the undercard box is what has bloated this set out. So it's not as if I don't think that the hobby boxes are going to be as diluted as the difference between Prizm 21 and Prizm 22. It felt like they really watered. Excuse me. Ooh. Let's edit that piece out. Me sneezing grossly. But anyway, I felt like between Prizm 22 and Prizm 21, the additions of like the Ruby Waves, and even to some extent the Cracked Ices, really diluted the boxes, and you weren't able to get as many big hits.
It definitely did.
Fact,
It
the red
definitely
was
did. The
$2.99.
hypers, the hypers,
Just the hypers
the
and the
Ru-
ruby waves.
the ruby waves, and the cracked ice. And I like the cracked ice cards.
I do.
It's sort of, if you're looking for a variation, an entry level variation, I think they're nice cards. They're oftentimes $8 to $15, $20 cards, depending on who it is. If it's centered and looks good. But the ruby waves and the hypers, just it was like filler content.
Yeah.
And it made you're like, oh, I got some color. Oh, it's a hyper and
the hypers were trash because they all had print lines in them.
Yes.
So let's take a look at the parallels for this year that will be in the hobby boxes. New to the product is Blue Wave. So I hope that's not in the hobby box. It wouldn't surprise me if that was in either undercard or maybe a
blaster exclusive.
Yeah, I'm not sure though, because blasters tend to be trash with either silver or green. So then we've got green Prizm, which will be in the blaster, hyper, which will be in the hobby, cracked ice, which will be in the hobby, ruby wave, which will be in the hobby, silver, which will be in everything, undercard Prizm, which is basically a disco, white sparkle, we know that will be in a pack. Red is to $199. Last year it was to $299, right?
Right.
Blue was to $199. Now it's to $175. Purple is to $149. I think it's always been $149.
Yes.
Orange is to $99.
Same as it's been.
Scope is to $99.
Same.
And then red undercard is to $99. Teal is to $49. So it's always been teal's always been $49. It's cool that teal's stuck around. It's a weird color. I try to think about if it wasn't about chasing rarity, what cards would I care about? And I don't know if I'd be like, oh, I want a teal card, but it's cool that they've got some continuity here. Blue undercard is to $25. By the way, RIP Pink Pulsar. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I always like those cards.
Yeah, they feel very collectible, right? Green Pulsar. So what are we going to be chasing in is there not going to be retail? That's my question, right? Because you were chasing green autos and pink Pulsar. So are they not going to do a retail box now?
I don't know, unless one of these takes over.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one it would be. I don't see anything that would stick out as a replacement for that.
Right. Green Pulsar is to $25. Mojo is to $25. And then for first off the line, Blue Shimmer is to $10. Gold is to $10. Gold undercard is to $10. There is no gold shimmer in the first off the line. Lucky Envelope is to $8. Octagon is to $8. Oh, gold. There is a gold shimmer first off the line.
It's to $3. I was going to say, it's to $3.
And then black is 1-1, but there's no black shimmer. Interesting. No black shimmer.
And no black undercard.
Correct. No black undercard. So it's great that there's only one true black. I think Select took it overboard, and then Immaculate took 1-of-1s to a ridiculous. I think there were 600 1-of-1s in the last Immaculate.
Yeah, it was a massive number, and I think here too. So Brennan's real excited about the undercard variations, and I'm curious to see what they look like. But he needs to know. He still never pulled a 1-of-1, and that's one of the things. Obviously, he dreams of pulling. But so it looks like in that undercard box, the premier card you're going to get is a gold Prizm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the cool thing is though, one guaranteed auto per box.
Right.
So as opposed to H2, which is, cross your fingers.
Sure. Well, my friend,
thank you for those who watched. I don't think anybody made it to the end with us today.
Well, it was a lot of digging and looking at stuff and rambling, but it was necessary because I had not gone through this like I wanted to.
Yeah. I love the data. For those of you who might want to watch this back after the fact, ask me questions about data. I love tracking the data because one of the key points that I was trying to make when I got back into the hobby, when basically September of 2021, when Prizm and Select were the only two products out, was there ought to be a more linear and predictable kind of price predictability to the cards based on rarity and performance of the fighter that's more based on more objective data other than just hype. And I mean, hype is really it, right? It's all so hype driven. So I've tried to return to a little bit more data driven analysis here, and I'm going to continue to try and put these ideas out there. So if anybody has any questions about data, about statistics, or perceived value versus actual, would love to be able to talk more about that if you're into the idea.
Yeah, and I think as you and I discussed earlier off stream, I think I'd really like to get into the very first conversation you and I ever had outside the group was about, hey, you've done what you do for a living and analyze data, and I've done, run businesses and things for years, and we're always mining data, and there's always a correlation there. There's some sort of little formula, and I think that it's worth looking at, especially for guys that want to maximize the value of the cards that they buy and enjoy the hobby without going broke, and who to buy and when to buy and when to dump and who to hold. I think always makes for good conversation. So I appreciate the rookie list. I'm going to be getting some stuff knocked out at work tomorrow, and then when I get home, I'll be digging through.
Well, this was good. I'm very excited. We should start to see first off the line cards hitting whatnot in eBay and maybe some of the Facebook, Kevin's group. I'm not sure when everything's going to ship, but it's coming soon.
It's soon. That's all that matters, man. So awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate all the homework today, and that was enjoyable. And I'm going to reap the benefits of it. So let's just keep adding to that little database we got going, and we'll share what we know when we know it.
Absolutely. So let's see. UFC card community, thanks for sticking with us. Be still, fun as always. And at Fight Cards Nate on YouTube, if you want to watch that way, do all the YouTube things. What is it? Hit the like button, subscribe.
Oh, you got to like, subscribe, and smash the notification button.
There we go. Oh, before we go, any update on the Corner Kid? Are we expecting any content?
No, we are. So we're doing that new segment. I think I brought it up last week, 10 questions with the Corner Kid. So we've got multiple people lined up, just went through and I sort of stole some of our footage from this just to see how we translate over. So we'll use this format, and may even chat with you about some ideas that I had as far as hosting those interviews through Fight Cards. So that would be kind of a fun thing to do. Might put you as a little moderator, might have do some kind of fun little trivia question and answer between whoever Brennan has on as a guest and himself. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk to you all next week, and have a good week.
Have an awesome Monday, man. We'll talk to you soon.